A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool that is quickly becoming a must-have. But why do you need a VPN, and how does it work in the first place? A VPN helps your data travel through the internet safely, without big companies or cybercriminals being able to spy on your online activities. Also, a VPN swaps the real location of your device with a new one. This way, you can virtually travel to any country around the globe. So, who can benefit from a VPN? If you're worried about your online privacy, a VPN makes sure your identity and private information are not exposed when you go online. If digital security is your top priority, a VPN gives a nice additional layer of security. It encrypts your data so nobody could see what you send and receive. If you are a human rights activist whose freedom of speech is restricted, a VPN helps you to bypass censorship and speak to the world. Or, if you're on holiday in another country, with a VPN, you can bring your home entertainment anywhere you go. Here's a pro tip: check out Surfshark VPN. It has everything you need in a premium VPN, awesome speeds, and industry-leading protection that covers all of your devices. All you have to do is click connect. Secure your digital life and enjoy everything good that the internet has to offer with a VPN you can trust.
Click link in the description and get 81% discount for your first order. Protecting your furniture and applying a primer. Make sure your painting space is well ventilated. If you're working indoors, open up windows and doors to keep the air circulating. Consider placing a fan facing out the window to blow out air. Paint fumes aren't good to inhale, especially for children and pregnant women. Place the furniture on a drop cloth. This will keep your floor clean as you paint if you're painting inside. You won't have to worry about paint drips and dribbles. If you're painting outside, a drop cloth will protect your furniture from grass and dirt. A plastic tarp makes a good, affordable drop cloth. Remove any knobs or handles from your furniture. If you don't want a piece on your furniture to get painted, it's easier to take it off with a screwdriver rather than try to paint around it later on. Also, if you're painting furniture with cushions, make sure to take the cushions off. Wipe down your furniture with a tack cloth. A tack cloth is a lint-free cloth that is slightly tacky sticky, which means it can pick up dust much better than your average cleaning rag. Getting your furniture clean before you paint it is important so that you don't accidentally make specks of dirt stick to the furniture. A dry cloth will get off most of the dust, but if you have more stubborn grit, just wet the cloth until it is slightly damp and rub it over the furniture. Use a bonding primer with acrylic paint. To use acrylic paint, which is commonplace and affordable, you'll have to first apply a primer to make the paint stick to the wood. Choose a primer designed for the kind of wood your furniture is made out of. Apply a coat of primer with even brush strokes in the direction of the wood grain. Let the primer dry completely before applying your coat of paint. Some primers take hours to dry and some only 10 minutes. Prep with a liquid deglosser if your furniture has intricate woodwork. Liquid deglosser helps dull the paint on the furniture, doing the task of sandpaper, but without you having to tediously sand. Just soak a rag in deglosser and run it over the furniture. The liquid will seep into all the tiny nooks and crannies of your furniture. Make sure to use liquid deglosser outside because it has a very strong smell. Wear gloves and protective goggles. Once the deglosser dries, you can paint your furniture with whatever kind of paint you like. Choosing your paint. Use acrylic paint for an easy-to-find, affordable option. Acrylic paint is very easy to come by and cheap. However, people normally sand their wood furniture before applying acrylic paint, so if you're bent on avoiding sanding, you'll have to apply a primer first. You may be better off trying out a more expensive and unusual form of paint. Mix milk paint with a bonding agent for an easily adhering paint. Bonding agent is a liquid substance that helps the milk paint grip onto the wood. In a bucket, mix equal parts milk paint with bonding agent. Stir completely before using. You don't need a primer or deglosser with milk paint. Use chalk paint for a matte, writable surface. Chalk paint requires no bonding agent and adheres to almost any surface. And you can write on your furniture with chalk afterwards, which could be fun. Chalk paint dries quickly, so use light, thin coats to avoid leaving visible brush strokes. There is no need to apply any primer or deglosser before painting with chalk paint. Choose mineral paint for a waterproof finish. Mineral paint is generally more expensive than the other options, but it resists water rings from cups being set down on it. So, if you're painting a coffee table or something else that might get spilled on, it might be the paint for you. Mineral paint also requires no primer or bonding agent. Painting and finishing your furniture. Stir your paint with a stir stick. Because you're not sanding your furniture, you can get right to painting it. Stirring your paint gets out any globs and bubbles and makes sure the paint is all a consistent color. Once your bucket of paint is stirred, you may want to test painting on a scrap of wood to make sure it comes out the color you want. Paint the furniture in a light, even coat in the direction of the grain. The grain will be clearly visible, especially because you haven't sanded your furniture. Dip the paintbrush in the bucket of paint and rub off any excess paint. Then paint lightly in the direction of the wood grain. Start at the bottom of the piece of furniture and work upwards. Place your paintbrush on the unpainted wood and move it towards the part you have already painted, until the paint overlaps, instead of placing your brush on the wet paint and working outward. This will avoid leaving brush strokes. Let the furniture dry completely after the first coat of paint. The amount of time your paint will take to dry depends on the type of paint you choose. Most paints need about 6 minutes 8 hours to dry. Chalk paint, which sticks very well to unsanded wood, only takes about 30 minutes to dry. Check your can of paint to see how long the recommended drying time is. Wipe the furniture with a dry tack cloth before painting again. This will collect any dust that may have settled on the furniture after your first coat. Make sure to wipe down the furniture between each coat of paint. Paint more coats of paint until you get the look you want. Remember to let the paint dry in between each coat and wipe with a tack cloth once dry. You may be tempted to really slather on the paint to make sure it sticks, since you didn't sand your furniture. But actually, applying many layers of light paint will make your furniture look much cleaner and more professional than if you put on one thick, gloopy layer of paint. Apply a coat of wax or polyurethane sealer. Once your furniture is completely painted and dried, you can choose to seal it with wax or polyurethane. Apply the wax with a soft cloth or paint brush in the direction of the grain. Sealer isn't necessary but will help keep your furniture protected from scuffs and spills. Let the paint and sealer cure for 24 hours before you begin using your piece of furniture. Reattach the knobs and handles. Now that your furniture is all painted and dried, you can reattach any drawer knobs or handles that you removed before you started painting. Your furniture is done. Enjoy the new look.